guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of The Predator. Now, we are doing something a little bit different today. And I am doing this because I've made it no secret I am not fond of this movie. So I figured let's just state that outright and up front. Now, I have not yet watched The Predator for this review. I have not yet sat down and watched it and taken notes and all that jazz. I wanted to sit here real quick and address the fact that I am watching this movie with as clean of a slate as I can possibly have. I am going into this with an open state of mind. I know that this movie is not good. I am not expecting to just love it. But I wanted to come up here real quick and just state out front, outright, that I am going into this with as open of a mind as I possibly can. And yeah, we're not going to drag this out any further. Let's go ahead and watch The Predator. Time jump! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, time travel has been achieved. This is my official review now for The Predator. This one came out in 2018. It is starring Boyd Holbrook, Jacob Tremblay, and Olivia Munn, and was directed by Shane Black. So, the verdict is still out as of right now. Does Alex still think that this movie is a piece of fucking garbage? Yeah, I do. I really do. Good God, man. So, I obviously just named some of the talent that is in this movie. And I do not aim, I never really do, but I do not aim to discredit the filmmakers or discredit the actors or any performers of any kind. That's not the goal of this review. That being said, I do believe that when a very poor job is done, that you need to be held accountable. And now I'm sure Shane Black has heard ad nauseum how fucking bad this movie is, and I'm sure one fucking Midwest horror fan's opinion is not really going to affect him too much. But fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways. So, I do not want to blame this movie's failure 100% on Shane Black. I don't want to do that, you know? Because this movie is littered with just god-awful studio interference. You know, we've talked about studio interference on the channel before and how poorly it can affect film. And my God, there's just some really, really weird decisions, most notably in the ending, which we will talk about here soon as far as the ending is concerned with The Predator. But, you know, some re-edits and shit like that, and this movie just eventually became a jumbled piece of fucking shit after a while. There are scenes where people are referencing something that happened a couple seconds ago in the film as if it happened days ago, vice versa. I could fucking go on forever. You know, there's scenes that are just hacked out of this fucking movie. And it's not just stupid shit. It's not just like little shit. They're like, oh, you know, we just decided we didn't need this scene. It's like vital stuff. It's very vital shit. And that's what happens when you have so many talking heads littering a fucking movie like this. It just becomes a piece of shit eventually, which is what happened to The Predator, unfortunately. And that sucks, man, because I know Shane Black had a certain vision for this film, and I don't think he really got to fulfill that vision. Now, his vision still wasn't good. In my opinion, what he had planned for this movie, you know, you hear, you know, you research shit and you find out certain things that he had planned, and yeah, none of that shit's good either. This movie just... Oh my God, it just fails. It fails on just problem after problem after problem after problem. If I sat here and went through every single little solitary thing, we'd be here for a very long time. It would probably be my longest review ever, just trying to name the numerous problems involved in this movie. Number one would be the editing. This is a very, 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 very poor edit. Chop that up to studio interference and just general poor filmmaking. Now, the story of the Predator. So here's the deal. The last entry in this franchise before the Predator was Predators. And one thing I really enjoyed about that film is that it introduced kind of subspecies warfare. You know, there's a different breed of predators that basically are rivaling the traditional predators that we've come to know and love. And I really liked that idea. I thought that was a really, really, really fucking cool idea. That interspecies warfare, I think, is a very interesting concept. And, you know, early on in this film's production, I was kind of hearing about the fact that they could be bringing that back in some form or fashion. And that got me really excited. That got me really, really excited. And then I saw the fucking thing. I remember walking out of the theater when I went and saw The Predator back in 2018. I was very, very, very disappointed. Good God. This movie... As I've said before, I'm going to really resist trying to just nitpick every single little problem that this film has, because I'd fucking be here forever. The story, though, of the Predator basically surrounds a rogue predator that has crash-landed on Earth in what we later learn is an attempt to give humanity a certain weapon, which we will fucking talk about, to fight off these new genetically enhanced predators that a certain, faction of Yautja are genetically engineering. They are taking the spines from the most powerful creatures across the galaxy and genetically enhancing themselves, which goes against the ideals of, the traditional Yautja. Now, if you look at that idea on the surface, I think it has some cool potential. The way it is executed is not fucking good. I would love to... Because here's my thing. I just cut myself off, but I don't like the idea of needing to make a more threatening predator. The Predator, that Predator. One of the scariest fucking movie monsters of all time. We're talking an elite, out of this world, literally out of this world hunter that is genetically superior to humankind in every way. And it hunts human like we hunt fucking cattle. That's terrifying, dude. And plus you factor in the superior technology and all this stuff. The Predator on its own is already fucking scary. This change and this story arc is unnecessary. With Predators, back in 2010, that was different. Because in that case, it's more of a tribal thing, and one Predator faction has a different way of doing things than another, and it's very much so... I don't know, it's better, is what I'm trying to get down to. But the genetically engineered Predator shit, like I said, it sounds like it could be cool. The problem is that the way they execute it is to just make this Predator bigger. That's the only thing about this fucking guy that makes him any different from a normal fucking Predator. You could have done some really interesting shit. I'm sure they could have fucked it up way more than they did, but you still could have done some interesting shit with that character. There was one little shot when you first meet him, and he kills the original Predator. which made me sad because now we just have to look at this fucking thing the entire rest of the movie. But it's like his skin changes and shit, and the way Olivia Munn's character portrays it is that he grew an exoskeleton or some shit under his skin. Some weird shit, and then it's like never addressed throughout the rest of the movie. Like his skin changes, and that's just it. And I was like, there's nothing about this guy that makes him any different except he is like just a fucking goddamn kaiju compared to a normal predator. It's just dog shit, dude. And then you get to the final battle between him and Boyd Holbrook's character and Olivia Munn, which I'm not gonna even attempt to remember their character names, because it's not fucking worth it. And he gets taken down, you know, he puts up a fight, obviously, but he gets taken down rather easily. Like, there's just nothing about this predator that... He's honestly one of the weaker predators we've ever seen, at least for the as far as the films are concerned. And it's like, that shouldn't be the case. If you're gonna go this route and you're gonna make this guy like genetically enhanced, he should be fucking destroying people. And don't get me wrong, he fucks people up in this movie, which is a positive I have. He just annihilates some fuckers in this movie, and that is a plus. The violence in this movie is pretty fucking strong. I liked it a lot. But, you know, it doesn't redeem anything. Like I said, you could have a bloody gore fest, but if the rest of the movie's shit, then what does it matter? But yeah, so that whole genetic engineering shit just did not fucking work for me. But let's get into the good guys, right? Let's get into the characters that we're supposed to root for, and we're supposed to want to see them overcome the Predator. We have Boyd Holbrook's character, who first encounters the original Predator that is trying to hand off this weaponry, which, if he's trying to hand off weaponry, why is he actively fucking killing people? Why is this Predator, like the original, the small Predator, why is he actively making himself out to be a threat if he's trying to form an alliance with the humans? Which that in of itself is just fucking dumb. But yeah, dude, I don't understand that shit at all. I just don't fucking get it. If you're trying, you know, I don't know. If I'm trying to fucking help somebody out at the grocery store, this is a stupid example, but this is a stupid movie. You know, if I'm trying to help somebody out at the grocery store, like if an old lady, like asks me, because I'm 6'1", I'm a tall guy. If she like, oh, can you reach that up there? I'm like, sure. And I just fucking deck her. I just punch her right in the fucking face. And then, of course, she's gonna be a little opposed to maybe wanting my help. I just, and again, dumb example, but dumb fucking movie. So it's appropriate. It's just stupid, But anyways, so Boyd Holbrook encounters this Predator. And, he gets arrested. Or, well, he takes some of the Predator's armor. And he somehow this gauntlet, which the Predator by itself, without the genetic enhancements, is already significantly larger than humans. So the fact that this wrist gauntlet can just fit his arm perfectly fucking fine doesn't make any sense, but moving on. And so he takes he steals this little ball, out of the wrist gauntlet. He steals the wrist gauntlet and a bunch of other shit too. But I was really fixated, at least with him, on this ball. And this little metal ball is supposed to be the thing that enables the Predators to turn invisible. Which, no, it's just their fucking wrist gauntlet. Now this thing pops out of the wrist gauntlet, and, you could fucking talk all day about this shit. That's not really the problem I have with this whole little deal. It's the fact that he, within, maybe a couple days of having this thing, just knows how to use it. This alien technology just knows how to use it. And there's another character that is way worse about that than he is. But that's a big, big gripe in a movie filled with big gripes for me is that people will pick up Predator technology and they just know how to use it. Or at least are moderately good at using it. Which, no. This is a completely different fucking world of technology. Humans should have no fucking clue how to use any of this shit. It completely takes the horror factor out of it. That's something that makes the Predator so goddamn scary, is all this superior technology it has. But no, humans are just able to pick it up and start using it. So whatever. He flees to Mexico, and and we see him just like turn invisible just on a whim, just to intimidate some fucking people in this shop. Stupid. But yeah, he ends up getting arrested in a scene that is just completely cut out of the original cut of the movie. But they come to arrest him. Obviously, it's the government, so they need to arrest him and find out what he knows, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, he sends all of this technology to what he thinks is his P.O. box, but it really gets sent to his fucking house for some reason. I don't fucking know. And then his kid gets a hold of it. Now, let's talk about this kid real quick. And don't worry, we're not going to run down the entire plot. If you want to watch the movie, I don't recommend it. But if you want to watch the movie, fucking watch the movie. But this kid, so this movie, along with all the other stupid shit, this movie's dumb. They have the nerve to tackle autism now, and they make this kid autistic. Now, I've heard people say that this is a very tone-deaf depiction of autism, and I agree. I'm not going to speak from a first-hand perspective on a situation that I know nothing about. I'm not autistic personally, so I don't really... I can't make that judgment call. What I do know is that it's not a fucking superpower. Now, granted, yes, it has been shown that kids or people in general who have autism are pretty smart in certain areas of life. They do have enhanced knowledge about certain things, and it's a spectrum, so you could talk all day about it, but it's not abnormal for someone who is on the spectrum to be very gifted in a certain area. That's not abnormal. What is abnormal is for a child to have the ability to read an alien language, operate alien technology. I don't know what else I need to say. I mean, what the fuck? It's just, it blows my mind. And this kid, like, it's an interesting idea. Like, the fact that, yeah, okay, this kid is autistic, so he's able to, like, he has a photographic memory. That's not an uncommon thing. But, I'm cool with that. But it's the fact that you stretch it to the point where he's a goddamn Avenger. It's like, no, man. What the fuck? As far as the rest of the characters, Olivia Munn is a scientist. And she's snarky. Her introduction is one of the most rushed fucking things, I think. It's one of the most rushed character introductions I've ever seen. It's fucking abysmal. We get like 2 shots of her before she is just thrust into this movie. Now, granted, I know, I always say that character development in horror movies is not always the number one thing. You look at the original Predator movie. People fucking adore those characters. I do as well. The Predator is one of my favorite fucking movies of all time. But even I can admit that those characters are not the most in-depth people in the world. There's not a whole lot to them. What makes them so interesting is the fact that it's all these very machismo, buff, ripped, badass motherfuckers that are being humbled by this genetically superior being. Great fucking concept. Amazing concept, and it was executed amazingly. You get to this movie, And I can tell that Shane Black was trying to kind of capture some of that original charm of the original cast in the Predator movie. He failed. Like, massively. Like, fucking failed. Bad. All respect to Shane Black. You don't always hit home runs, and this was not a home run. This was a fucking strikeout. Go back to the drawing board. And, you know, again, sounding mean, but I think it's warranted. These guys, now, so when Boyd Holbrook's character gets arrested and he is put on this bus and we get introduced to all of these characters, and each and every single one of them are a fucking quirk. That's all they are. Now, again, I've heard people argue, well, the guys in the original Predator movie are all fucking quirks. You know, one of them's shaving and the other one tells dirty jokes, much like one in this one does. Again, the issue is not the fact that they're very hollow characters. They are. They all are. Like, it's fucking bad. It's worse than the original by a fucking mile. The thing that's so bad about these characters and what just immediately took me out of the movie is the fact that none of them are scared. At any point in this movie, they are not. They show no, and I'm not exaggerating, they show zero fear. You ain't Pentagon Jr., motherfucker. You can't do that. Like, maybe 5 people who watch this are gonna get that. But, yeah, no. There's no fear to be had with any of these characters. And not only that, every single fucking thing they say, for the most part, is a joke. Everything in this movie is treated as a joke. I can take this stupid fucking story. I can take the incredibly shallow characters. But when everything in this sci-fi horror film is just a fucking gag. The main villain of this movie, who, like, and that's not the fucking Predator, the main human villain, I should say. It's just generic fucking bad government man. His death is a gag. Because at the end, they all team up for some stupid reason. And he has the shoulder cannon on his head. Why he didn't just get a gun? I don't fucking know. He just didn't grab a gun. He thought it'd be cool to mount this fucking shoulder cannon that he has zero knowledge about. He has to ask how to use it. And of course, the fucking kid knows for some reason. Because he's, you know, he has superpowers. But, you know, and he just blows his own head off. And it's like a blinking you missed it thing. This is the main human antagonist of the film, and his fucking death scene is played for laughs. Come on, dude. I'm okay with comic relief. They have Keegan Michael Key in this movie. Key and Peele. You love him. You know? I fucking love him. And again, like I said, I'm not discrediting any of these actors, but fuck me. Make him the comic relief. There's nothing wrong with comic relief. There's nothing wrong with comic relief in Predator films. The original Predator had some fucking hilarious moments in it. But for God's sake, for every single character to just be making jokes and doing quips and saying fucking cheesy ass action movie lines like it's the 80s. You're not Arnie, buddy. Come on. You know, you gotta bring it down a little bit, man. It's just out of control, dude. There's not one scene in this movie that replicates any kind of tension or anything. It's just awful. It's so fucking bad. And I guess, you know, again, I could go on all day, man. I really could. But what I want to do now is I want to challenge myself. and I want to find the positives in this movie. It's going to be a real short segment, y'all. Like I said before, the brutality is really, really good. You know, CGI blood aside, there is some really bad looking CGI blood in this. The classic Predator, he has some cool moments. He has some cool stuff, you know. The scene where he breaks out of the fucking like med bay that there are like the science lab and the researching him and shit. When he breaks out, he fucks some people up, and that was all well and good. It was cool, kind of seeing him, you know, a Predator basically use his own, you know, because he's usually using weaponry, and it's cool to see him like, he just like takes his claws and just slashes this guy's fucking face apart. You know, that was all well and good. Like, that's fine. You know, it fucking. I thought the scene of, you know, it's right after what I just talked about when Olivia Munn's character is trying to, because to get in this room you have to like decontaminate, so you have to get undressed and like you get this fucking shower basically, and the door to exit or enter will not open unless you go through that process. So she's trying to escape while this Predator is wreaking havoc in this little lab, and you know, that's a generally tense scene. I think it could have been executed a little better, but for what it was fine. And that's it. I think that's genuinely the only positive thing I can think of. Oh, going back to negatives, the dogs. Holy fuck, the Predator dogs. So like I said, this genetically enhanced Predator kind of goes against tradition, obviously. And so he brings like these, you know, okay, I gotta preface this by saying this. One of my favorite aspects of Predators. I will champion that movie forever. I know a lot of people don't like it. You know, it has its little faults here and there, I'm not gonna lie. But, good God, if you compare that to this, it's night and fucking day. The dogs or the hounds in Predators, fucking really cool. They're these like super horned up fucking like just beasts. They look fucking great. Why wouldn't you just use those for this? Instead, we get these weird they look like they kind of look like just actual dogs, like a terrier or something, but it's like alien skinned, and it has little like tendrils like a predator. They look terrible, and one of the fucking protagonists shoots one of the dogs in the head, and it tames the dog, so now the dog is friendly and he joins these people on their mission, and he's like a companion to them now when he was just trying to kill them. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm not lying. Like, I'm serious. This shit really happens. Good God. But moving on, let's just get into this ending, man. So the final battle is solid enough. It is what it is. At this point, I'm just kind of shutting down. So when this final act comes, it was rough. It's one of the worst parts of the entire film, and the entire film is bad, so that's saying something. You know, this Predator gets his ship back, and he's trying to, you know, escape. They're pursuing him because he kidnapped the superhero child. Because that's like the genetically superior thing that they need to further enhance themselves, whatever. So they fucking go to rescue the kid, and one of the guys gets his legs cut off by the shield, which was cool, and he just kind of flies away. Oh man, so the other one makes a sacrifice. He sacrifices himself. And it's previously hinted at that this certain character had suicidal tendencies, and that's why he was arrested. So, and keep in mind, any little sense, they have little pockets of, like, personal drama in this movie, and then it is immediately stomped on with a fucking joke. It's like, well, you know we can't have that shit in this movie. Everything has to be funny! Ha ha! Even the Predator has a fucking moment where he detaches some guy's fucking arm, and a guy's riding up front. It's like an army truck type shit. And he goes, oh, are you guys okay back there? And the Predator grabs this severed arm and poses it like a thumbs up, and then just does that. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm not kidding. That happens. Moving on. So when this guy sacrifices himself, he, like, laughs about it. And, like, just everything these guys do, none of it matters. They don't fucking care about anything. He is about to sacrifice himself, and he, like, flips him off, you know, from outside the shield. He's like, and then he fucking goes and kills himself. He throws himself in the engine, and that's what causes the ship to crash. Yeah, so, like I said, that last battle between Olivia Munn, Boyd Holbrook, and the Predator or the Super Predator, or whatever you want to fucking call it, is solid enough if you negate the fact that these human beings are going toe-to-toe to an extent with this genetically enhanced predator. But yeah, man. So, in the end, Jacob Tremblay's character, again, just knows how to use predator tech. Just slides down back into the ship, reactivates the shield, cuts the Predator's arm off. And then he fucking, you know, I think his leg gets cut off too at one point, and then they just shoot him in the face a bunch of times and he dies. I'm like, alright, cool. Whatever, dude. And then, you know, there's a little sweet moment where they attempt to make us care about characters that didn't fucking matter at all. But then we get the ending. Oh, the ending of The Predator. By this point, I've suppressed my original viewing of this movie, but I remember how I reacted to that ending. I remember thinking, like, okay, this movie really wasn't that good at all, but surely they can at least stick the landing. Fuck no. No. And looking back, you can absolutely tell that this was 100% a studio ending. This was them straight up saying, hey, we need a different ending. And then Shane Black's like, okay. And then they fucking threw this together. It is fucking dog shit. They needed it for a sequel that never happened. And I pray to God never fucking happens. Never, ever pick this story up in the canon timeline ever again. No. This doesn't exist. Moving on. So yeah, he gets, you know, he's in a super official uniform, military uniform. I don't know how it works. I don't know what to call him. But, you know, he looks like he's back in the ranks again. Yeah, he goes to this lab and they find this pod that the original Predator left them. I guess before he died. To like, help them out, even though he was actively killing people. So, they open this fucking thing up. And this kid is able to read alien language. And he says, oh, it translates to... And, like, it, does a zoom in on his... Like, a dramatic zoom in on his face. Like, it's a fucking... Like, it's a parody. And he goes, the Predator Killer. And then as soon as I heard that, like, when I first watched this, I was like, what? And this fucking thing comes out of this goo. And it attaches itself to a scientist. And we get this CGI Iron Man Predator armor. It didn't get any better the second time I watched it. I didn't expect it to. But, oh my god, it just looks so fucking bad. It looks like something a fourth grader who just watched, like, Predator for the first time. And I'm not even, honestly, I think I'm discrediting fourth graders who watched Predator for the first time. I think they could probably come up with something better than this. But it just looks like some shit you'd find in the bottom of the barrel of fucking DeviantArt or something. It fucking looks just horrid. Fucking horrid. And then, of course, you know, Boyd Holbrook is trying his best to be like a 80s macho fucking, you know, action movie hero. Or at least that's how he's written. Again, I don't want to discredit Boyd Holbrook. I think he's a fucking fine actor. But everyone in this movie does dog shit because the writing in this is fucking dog shit. So, of course, you know, he has to get one last, like, "You, I'm a badass" line in there, and he goes, and someone says, like, "What is that?" And he goes, "That's my new suit, Bubba. Hope they have it in a 42 long." And the fucking movie ends. Oh my god. Thank fucking Christ that this movie is over. I'm never going to watch this fucking movie again unless it is paid for. Yeah, this movie, it was just dog shit. It was just absolute fucking dog shit. But, you know what we gotta do now, baby? We gotta get into the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. We gotta get into my kill of this fucking piece of shit film. Stick around. Alright, like I said before, the Predator is a piece of shit, but it has some good brutality. We got some really solid fucking kills. Again, this Predator is fucking huge, so he's able to just grab people like this and just take his overly sized wrist blades and just, there's one, he just grabs this guy and just starts shanking the fucking shit out of him. Good stuff there. We get a pretty stupid fucking kill when one of the guys gets impaled on a tree. Oh yeah, I forgot. They treat Tourette's like it's just a fucking joke in this movie too. Funny. But yeah, so that guy, the Tourette's guy, gets impaled on a tree, and then Keegan Michael Key gets fucking disemboweled, and then he's just sitting there. And they, like, time it to where they both shoot each other in the face at the exact same time. And it's this, like, super emotional moment and that I'm supposed to give a shit about, and I don't. But yeah, so we get that. That was a fucking dumb one, but, you know, I guess the guts were pretty cool. Speaking of that guy getting just completely shanked, there's another one within that scene where this guy gets a fucking... I guess it's like a blade that gets launched through his crotch. I just spit. It gets launched through his crotch and like up through his head. That was pretty cool. It's fucking nasty. There's one really stupid one where I didn't even mention this, but the kid wears the Predator mask for a Halloween costume, and seeing this just fucking massive helmet on this little body is fucking hilarious. And you know, this fucking douchebag throws a fucking rock at him from his house, and it hits the helmet, and the helmet launches a fucking laser at him and blows up his house and blows him up. Yay. Yay. I hate this movie. What else is there? Fuck it, I can't think of any more, and I really don't feel like thinking about this movie too much longer after this fucking review is over. But my kill of the film is going to have to go to the main human bad boy, the bad guy, who, like, the government fucking bad guy, who just blows his own head off with a Predator shoulder cannon. Now I know what you're saying, Alex, that kill's fucking awful. Well, this movie's fucking awful, and I think that kill perfectly encompasses this entire movie. It is a shit kill for a shit fucking movie. And yeah, man, there are some other solid kills that probably could have been elected kill of the film, but to me, kill of the film is a sacred thing, and the fact that I'm even wasting a segment like this on a piece of shit like The Predator is already sacrilege, and I don't want to waste any more time on this fucking piece of shit movie. So, with that being said, that does it for my fucking review of The fucking Predator. Thank you guys, as always, for this time stopping by and listening to me rant for I don't even know how long. And yeah, man, if this is your first time stopping on Days of Darkness, I'm usually much more positive than this. But I know you guys every once in a while like hearing me rip something apart. And good God Almighty, did we do that today. So, with that being said, nonetheless, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for supporting this dream of mine. And next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to be reviewing a much, much superior movie. And that is our last stop in the Alien/Predator series. We're finally there. We are going to be talking about Prey. I know I did a little spoiler-free review on my return video, but this is going to be full-on, in-depth discussion about what I think is a really, really, really fucking good Predator movie. Especially after this shit we got here. With that being said, guys, thank you as always. Keep watching horror and take care of each other. Alright, guys, have a good rest of your day. And don't watch The Predator.